Hey guys, what's going on? Turbo here, and well, if you read the title, you'll know what this video is about. So I'm playing No Man's Sky quite a lot recently, and I know this video in the background here, isn't ideal, but as many of you are probably aware, you PC people will know that if you start recording, you affect your FPS. So I'm recording with a camera to one side to show you the actual FPS. So this is the game maxed out, but running in 1080p. Which is not what my monitor is. My monitor is a 2K monitor, so I'd rather play in 2K, but I'm going to show you everything that I've encountered so far. So I have a little run here where I go down here and I start harvesting a few things, deliberately shooting the floor, trying to create some effects. So it's holding usually above 60 FPS. Usually. There are a few points where it will dip below, but again, this is maximum everything. Unlocked FPS, so it can go as high as it wants to do, and at the moment it seems 80 is the maximum I can hit. So I deliberately went in the cave where I was expecting more FPS because it's now an indoor area, but it seems to stay around about the same. So bog standard game seems to be running okay now compared to launch when it was absolutely fucking terrible, let's be honest. And that's a bug there, right there. When you pick up these... Oh god. When you pick up those little boxes, they respawn, but then they disappear if you try to pick them up again. So here is the results in SLI with the new NVIDIA drivers. 150% of my graphics cards being used. I.e. 100% of one, 50% of the other. So it doesn't feel like it's full-fledged SLI being used at the moment. So here you can see everything is maxed out. Full screen, and these are results I get. So this is flying around in the spaceship to show you what the FPS is like with that. Now you can't shoot anything on the planet while you're in the spaceship, obviously. Well, I say obviously, it's just one of the many bugbears I have, because it would be nice to actually harvest materials while not on the ground like you can in space. So as you saw there was a massive FPS dip. That's probably the terrain loading in, as near as I can tell anyway. So there are occasional dips below 60 FPS, which is surprising for a game that doesn't particularly look amazing. It's particularly average. Again, bit of a dip there, but that was again traveling, so probably struggling to render everything in at once. But that's more to do with the game engine really than anything else. It's not NVIDIA's fault, it's not my PC's fault, it's built for this. So I blew up some asteroids, trying to get a little bit of terrain deformation, playing around again with the FPS by doing stuff. So yeah, in 1080p, reasonably okay, I guess. As long as you don't mind the FPS drop you will get from travelling, it would seem the game is a lot more stable than it was at launch. But there's still people reporting problems right now, so it seems to be a bit of a pot luck whether you get good FPS or not. But with the new experimental patch, there seems to be a hell of a lot better results, and the new SLI is helping, but not perfect just yet. I don't know why it's just using half a graphics card for some reason on the other one. It remains to be seen what's causing that. So, moving on. In 2K, maximum everything. The FPS is crap. To put it mildly, you will struggle to hit 60 FPS. Now bear in mind, again, this is with the new NVIDIA drivers for the SLI, kind of, and using two GTX 1080s and a hex-core Intel CPU. So I should theoretically be having absolutely no problems running a game that looks incredibly average. Let's be honest, it is a very average looking game. It's not beautiful. There are beautiful moments, but it is not a beautiful game or graphically demanding by any stretch of the imagination. So literally in space, nothing going on apart from rotating around and a few basic effects. We're below 60 FPS constantly. So let's fly over here, shoot some things, see what happens. Try to get as many small objects in screen as possible. As you see, we're just going to hover in the 50s really. So again, not ideal, but the minimum you really need is 30 FPS. But in this day and age where everybody is clamoring for 60 FPS, your game's not going to give you that. God knows how people were getting 4K screenshots. They must have been playing at like sub 30 FPS and just waiting for that nice picture. So as we transitioned, just there you saw there was a massive drop as we got to the planet. So we're getting into the 30s. 15 FPS there as we load things in. I can bear with loading things in, but it does break the seamlessness of the travel by having that massive drop. So again, dipping down to 20, we're only just landing on the ground. So I'm at my ship running around, 2K, maximum everything, and we're above 30 FPS, which I guess is all you do need, but we should be getting 60. If we can get 60 FPS at 4K in things as complicated as Grand Theft Auto, or as complicated as, say, The Division, which is notoriously hard to run, then this game should be flying. And in its current iteration, was what I was trying to say, it's not. But if you wait until the end of the video, or skip ahead if you just want to know the FPS tricks, I'm going to show you how to get the most out of it. And it's incredibly simple, you just need to upgrade to the beta. So a bit of a dip there, transitioning into water. Whether that was something loading in, or just a change of environment. Not particularly sure what would cause a massive FPS drop just going to something that's already loaded in, perceivably at least. So yeah, at 2K you're looking at about, well, 30 to 50 FPS. But look what happens when you upgrade to the beta, 130 FPS. Again, SLI, everything maxed out. The beta runs so well, and I believe it's something to do with how the rendering system was working. Apparently it's not ideal, and it's still not ideal apparently, but they're working on it. But the beta version is a lot better. It is literally double, if not triple, better than it was before. Here we are zooming in, which again was a problem before. Zooming in would cause a massive FPS drop. Each zoom in, now it's really stable. Again, 165, which is as high as my monitor goes. My monitor's refresh rate is in the top right hand corner there. In case you're wondering, guys, I am also using G-Sync, which also stops all the screen tearing, so everything looks absolutely fantastic, way better than V-Sync. And now for the ultimate test, as it were, travelling fast along the ground. We are staying way above 60 FPS. And so we'll land now. And that's a bug that's kind of annoying with a ship that tall. Get injured every time almost when I get out. So what do you need to do to get these awesome results? It's actually really simple. Simply open up Steam. Here we are. We have Steam. Go into your games and then go on to the extended properties where you'll find beta. Now in here you're going to have to put an access code. So where do you get the access code? Go on to No Man's Sky and go on to the forums, and the very first thing pinned at the top is the experimental branch. Now there's lots of reading to do. If you're inclined to read what was the problem and what things they fixed and what things they're testing in the beta, then you can read all that. But the important bit that you want is right here. Experimental. Spelt with a 3, because reasons. So all you want to do is copy that, go back onto No Man's Sky, pop it in there, check the code, and you'll now, in the drop-down menu, have access to the experimental branch, and it's about 25 meg, so it doesn't take very long to download at the time of this video. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope that helped and gives you an inclination of what to expect if you don't upgrade to the experimental branch, at least right now. I would recommend doing it at least just to see if you get an improvement in your FPS, because the stock game does leave a lot to be desired at the moment for many other reasons, but FPS being one of the major bugbears for most people right now. It's very unpredictable, so try this, see if it helps. If it does, give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing as well. I would really appreciate that, and I'll see you guys in another video really soon.